Hi there, John Moore here, and I am a shamanic teacher and practitioner from the state of Maine in the US. Today I'm going to talk about shamanism and smudging. Now, I'm going to talk about what smudge is. I'm going to talk about why we smudge, and I'm going to talk about some of the controversy which I think is misplaced around smudging. So, first of all, normally the use of smudge is the use of smoke to ritually cleanse or purify. And it could be a person, it could be an area, it could be a building. This is generally done with herbal substances that have, or woods that have pleasant odor, hopefully. I did learn that I am allergic to mugwort smoke when I tried to smudge with mugwort one time. A rather unpleasant experience, so be very careful with the substances you choose. A lot of people smudge with white sage as an herb, and I'm going to talk about that. This is not white sage. This is, in fact, a rosemary bundle, which is one of my preferred herbs to smudge with, and comes from a Scottish tradition called seining. Being at least partially of Scottish descent, I do like to honor my ancestors by using some traditional tools. So we use smoke. Now, there are occasions where there might be people in a circle, so we will normally smudge before we do some sort of ritual or ceremony, and sometimes after, to sort of clear and prepare a space and people to do what needs to be done, and afterwards to clear out any energy that's hanging around. Okay, some people smudge to ward off spirits, and I will talk about that in a moment. And I've got rosemary branches all over me at this point, and I love the smell of that. So sometimes people are allergic to smoke. So, what can we do where they react to it, or they're asthmatic or something, and they can't breathe in smoke from smudging? There are a few alternatives. One is a substance called Florida water, which can be purchased very easily online, or you can make it yourself, and you can sprinkle that on people or in the area, and it provides the same effect. It's like liquid smudge. The other one is the use of this is a really tiny one. I have much larger ones. This is a selenite crystal, and selenite has the same effect nearly as smudge. It doesn't have the psychological effect that the scent has, but sometimes when you got to do what you got to do, you got to be pragmatic and use the tools that you have. So if people are allergic, you can use this. Florida water is pleasant smelling. I make my own, and I prefer that, although I certainly have purchased bottles of commercially available Florida water. And now Florida water doesn't come from the state of Florida necessarily. The word Florida in this case means floral because it contains a number of floral essences. Okay, so that's sort of the why and when we smudge. And I will talk about using smudge to chase quote unquote evil spirits away or whatever in a moment, but it basically has an effect on the energy body, but also effect on the psychology of the person, particularly if you're breathing something scented like herbs like sage or rosemary, or cedar is common use, and that sort of thing. So there is controversy which is misplaced about smudging, and I have read things online that say you should not smudge unless you are Native American, and you should not use the word smudge unless you're Native American, because this is a Native American practice and this is cultural appropriation. And I have talked a lot about cultural appropriation in the past, and how well good intentioned, frequently claims of cultural appropriation are coming from a place of ignorance. And I just mean, I'm not being pejorative about people. I just mean ignorance in the way that people don't really know the truth of the matter that they're speaking of. So As I've attested to, there's a Scottish tradition of smudging, but if you think about the use of scented smoke for ritual purification, can you think of a culture that does not do that? Have you seen incense burners in churches before, or ritual fires, or even in in uh, in Judaism they have the mikvah, which is the ritual bath, and that people are submerged in, and even the process of um, submersion in water in baptisms is a similar thing. It's meant to cleanse the do a spiritual cleansing. So no. This is, well, yes, there are Native American tribes that practice smudging, and white sage is a traditional substance to smudge with. It is not limited to Native American tribes. It's fairly universal. It probably goes back to prehistoric times, to cultures that no longer exist, and is kind of a global thing. Exists in many, many different cultures using scented smoke. In fact, there are so in England, you had Cunning Folk, who were sort of folk magicians. In Scandinavia, you have people who are troll cunning, and there are different words for them. And my Swedish is really bad, so forgive me. Please feel free to correct me, but forgive me for pronouncing this so poorly. But Klockaguba means like wise old man, but these are folk magicians, and they used fatwood, which is branches from trees that had died, where there's lots of fat or sap in them, and so they're burned like Palo Santo, which is another substance people burn for smudging purposes. People also burn copal incense, all kinds of stuff for the same purposes. I personally, so controversy aside, we could agree that lots of people, it would be truthful for us to agree that lots of people use, burning substances, smoke for ritual purification. The issue for me comes with white sage, in that white sage has become super popular. You can buy white sage smudge bundles in all kinds of new age stores and all kinds of that. My understanding is that because it has become so popular and commercially viable, people have gone in willy-nilly and unethically sourced white sage from traditional indigenous American grounds where it has been harvested. And so I personally will not purchase white sage for the use of smudge, because I want to respect the cultures that traditionally use that and leave that for them. It's not because I think it's bad to use white sage if you're not connected with a culture that used it, other than it is used religiously in some Native American tribes in their ceremonies, and they should have access to that plant instead of me buying it in a store somewhere. Besides, there are lots of other substances that you can use. You can use other types of sage. You can grow your own sage, which is fantastic. Grow your own rosemary. I love rosemary. It's one of my preferred methods, and it turns out that there is an antibiotic effect to it. So our ancestors knew a lot of stuff. Let me talk a little bit about the use of smudge to chase off bad, quote unquote, bad spirits. So if you're living in a space that is quote unquote haunted, there are stuck and suffering spirits there. Sage can temporarily change the vibration of the place. But trust me when I say that most spirits are not going to be chased, and I mean the vast majority are not going to be chased off by burning white sage. Many spirits actually find it rather pleasant. whether spirits are evil or positive or negative, those are values that we place on those. And yes, there are harmful spirits that we want to sometimes extricate or make a deal with to leave or something along those lines, and talk to your local shamanic practitioner about how to do that. So a shamanic practitioner coming into a space that they're clearing will, lots of them will begin by smudging the space. But that's not the end of it, right? Smudging the space is just to change the vibration of the space for a short period of time, to cleanse the space, to get rid of, I would say, non-sentient spiritual energy that might impede the work that is to be done to do the actual space clearing. So it might be a part of it. Let's talk about the word smudge for a moment. And this one made me scratch my head. And when somebody told me online recently that I could not use the word smudge because that was a Native American word, and I said, which tribe? What language does that come from? So smudge is an English word. It comes from, we think, Old English. And it means, like, we think of to smudge something like to, rub your finger on a whiteboard and smudge the ink or whatever, and it comes from it, that origin means to make dirty or what have you. However, in the 18th century, in fact, I think the first attestation to the use of smudge for smoke comes from the 1767-ish, and smudge was a smoky fire used to drive away mosquitoes, which is also where we get smudge pots from in the early 20th century. And so the word, as far as I know, does not exist in any Native American language. If somebody who is indigenous American is using the word smudge, and I obviously have no issue with them using the word smudge, it's not from an indigenous language. They're using an English word, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just some people are wildly mistaken when they think that word is not an English word, and so we can't use non-English words. In fact, if it's from Old English, it's probably one of the rarer words in English that is actually English, because we use a whole lot of borrowed words from lots of different languages: Spanish and French, Latin, Greek, all kinds of stuff. So smudge, English word. Who can smudge? Anybody can smudge. I don't care where your parents or grandparents or whoever was born. You can smudge. You don't need my permission. It's not that I'm giving you permission. I'm giving you my opinion. I don't think anybody needs permission to do this. It's an effective spiritual tool. The important thing when smudging, well, there are a couple of important things. One is don't burn down your or anybody else's house. Be careful around fire. And I'm not saying that because I think you are irresponsible or a child or what have you, but accidents can happen, and it's good to be reminded. I'm very careful about leaving burning substances. I have, thankfully in my presence, so I could take care of it, accidentally set fire to stuff before that I didn't mean to. Fortunately, it was not left unattended. So be very careful about smudge. So normally what you do is I would light this bundle, make sure I could see there was some redness in what's burning here, and then blow it out gently so that there would still be sort of burning embers on the end, and then the smoke would begin. And eventually this will burn out on its own, or you can stub it out. Some people use like an abalone shell to catch the ash or whatever. You can use a dish or something along those lines. Or just walk around dropping ash all over your house and vacuum afterwards. But again, be careful if it could be, burning particles, that sort of thing. So be careful about that. That is the number one important thing. The number two important thing is when you smudge, it's not like spraying bathroom spray or something along those lines just to change the scent, and you don't have to do anything. Intention is really important. Okay, if I just lit this on fire and held it, while it's going to smell good, and it might have the smell has a psychological effect on me, the clearing effect is not going to be present if I do not have the intention of using the smudge for clearing. So intention is just holding in mind you're directing, you're dedicating your action to something. So rather than intention, sometimes gets complicated. We'll say directed action. We'll say I'm going to smudge for the purpose of clearing the space, and I hold that in mind as I'm smudging. Intention. It's like in real estate, they say location, location, location. In spirituality, intention. I can pray with no intention in my heart, and it will have very little effect. Or I can have a really powerful intention, do some short ceremony or prayer, and see an immediate or feel an immediate effect. Intention is super important. In fact, I'll probably do a whole video about intention and directed action. Anyway, that is a little bit about smudging. I hope this is helpful. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not already, and I will talk to you very soon.